I know when we got to Spelman, it was so empowering just being with amazing Black women who were all smart and intelligent and excited and eager about their futures. But tell me what
Mhm.
the experience was like for you, because I will say that there was a bit of cultural dissonance for me when I got to Spelman. My issue was my family's Jamaican, and I grew up, I was born and raised in the States, but at home they spoke patois, we ate Jamaican food, we listened to, reggae dance hall, we knew the Jamaican culture. And then when I walked out the door, I was expected to be American. So I didn't drag my culture with me because there was something about trying to assimilate that was really important to me at that time. No, me can't, but I don't want it. So now everybody's like, "Oh, you're so Jamaican." I'm like, "I know," and I assimilated and did not appreciate the culture for so long when I was growing up. And it wasn't until I got to Spelman that I began to feel this dissonance of like, there's something missing. I'm not feeling the cultural bonds that I think I wanted in my late
Mhm.
teens and early 20s. And I sought them out. But what I found was not a huge Caribbean population, but I found a huge West African and actually just a continent of Africa population that I
Mhm.
gravitated towards because I was really
Mhm.
missing the culture. And I know that's how we met, but so there was something missing for me. And I think it was that time that
Mhm.
I went through this whole period of self-discovery and like, who do I want to be? Who do I want to present as? And so now I'm Jamaican to the core and everybody knows it. But tell me how it was for you because you left a whole country that was home to come here. And I'm sure if I had some dissonance, you certainly did too.
Absolutely. So I think
Yeah.
what helped me was the fact that I'd been to boarding school. So I'd kind of been independent for a long time.
Yeah.
So coming to the States was never an issue, right? It was like, oh, okay, that's my new life, new country, new place, right?
Mm.
But boy, it was a real cultural shock for me because I'd
Mm.
also, this wasn't even the first time I'd gone out of country, but I guess I'd not
Right.
gone out of country where I was going to study. So it was more of a vacation, which is very different from if you were relocating into a country,
Yes.
right?
And living,
So,
right.
hmm, yeah, it was and I honestly always thought that, homesickness was for people who were like, oh, they were so soft. And I didn't think I was one of those. I knew that I knew I would be fine anywhere. But
Mm.
that is coming to Spelman in my very, very first year, my very first semester. That is when I realized that homesickness was real. It wasn't just like a
Mm.
concept. I used to think that why are they so homesick? They should just be happy. What's
Now have
homesickness?
fun. What y'all doing?
And I
Right.
was yeah, I thought it was people who were just like, oh, just really soft and just like pampered children. And I wasn't that. I wasn't a
Right.
pampered child, right? So I was like, oh my gosh, why are they so homesick? Or
Are you
because
just trying to
even
say
in
they're
boarding
weak
school,
ass bitches? They're weak
yeah,
ass bitches.
pampered is
She would never say
pampered is the
that.
word I want to use, right? So when I came to Spelman and in my first year, it was just very, very, very different. So I have a couple of
Mm.
stories.
Yeah.
The first one was that actually I was used to writing out all my papers, right? So if I had an
Right.
essay due, I would write it on a piece of paper and then submit it.
Mm.
That was the culture in Ghana because we weren't
Right.
using computers then, right? Then I come to Spelman, everything
Typed.
had to be done, had to be typed out, right? And
Mm.
that was huge for me. Even though I'd taken typing at some point my in my life when I was younger, I didn't pursue it. It was just one class, or I think it was
Mm.
one or two classes. So I wasn't and on a typewriter, so I wasn't really used to doing work on the computer, right? So
Right.
then I went ahead and there was a paper due for ADW, right? African
Mm.
Diaspora in the World. And we had to write and write and write for days. So I did this paper. I mean I was kind of writing, it was flowing. I was in the computer lab, I typed it all out and for some reason I hit something and everything disappeared.
I would have died. I would have failed that whole semester.
I'm telling you. And I mean, now knowing what I know, it was probably somewhere it could have been retrieved, but it was gone. I went to
Mm.
there was always somebody. What do you call the lady who was at the
Like a
computer
computer
center?
lab. Yeah, it was like
Yeah, they had
a
that
she was like the
computer lab. They had
attendant.
somebody there who to always assist.
Yeah.
So people who were good in computers would have their work study there, and they would come and
Right.
assist. And somebody came and helped her, and she was like, "Nope, she couldn't find it. It was gone." I
Oh.
mean, I think that was it. I lost it.
Oh,
I just
girl.
took all my books, left the computer lab, and cried all the way to my dorm. I
I'm
cried and cried and cried.
sorry.
I mean, it felt like the
Oh,
end of the
sorry.
world. And when I was
No, it was the
crying,
end of the world, literally.
it was the end of the world for me. I think the paper was due like in 2 days or something like that. But knowing that I needed to type it out, and I didn't even write it out. If I'd written it out, I would have I could have retyped it without thinking through. At this point, I can't even remember
Oh, so
what
you,
my points were. I was just kind of flowing, going with the flow at the
as
time.
you were typing, you were flowing. Oh,
Yes, yes. So
no.
I'd finished everything, and instead of save as, I hit delete or whatever I hit, everything went away.
I'm so sorry.
I was so
Oh,
frustrated.
Lord.
I cried all the way to my dorm, and then I
Oh, my
met
God.
Kiana Wright on the way.
Yes,
She's a Spelman, and she was in my dorm as well. And
I
she asked me
love.
what was wrong, and I was like, I can't even talk. She was like, okay. So I went to my room, and then she came by, and then I told her what the problem was, and I mean, she was very sympathetic to me, but I could
Right.
tell that she couldn't relate to the issue as grave as it was for me, because for me, I was like, I don't know how to type. I spent 6 hours typing this, and now everything is gone. And I think what used to amaze me
Gone.
was seeing everybody type so quickly. I was like, how do they type so fast? They'll be not even be looking at the keyboard. They'll be looking at their paper and just be typing like this. I was like, who does that? I had to be finding the letters on the
The E.
keyboard.
You're
So
like,
I
where is
knew
the
she
E?
couldn't relate to the magnitude of the problem that I had. It was
Oh,
so sad.
no. Oh,
And
my
then
God.
I
And let me
slept.
just
It's
tell
for me, when
you.
I'm sad, I just go to bed. I was like, you know what? This is it. I will deal with the problem in the morning.